record. All right. Can you all hear me? Okay. Yeah. Okay, great, great. Okay, so welcome to Element 13. It is not unlucky. This is a lucky element. And a very interesting element. So I am Nancy Peterson, and this is
Clark Peterson.
and we have been health coaches now for almost 5 years. And the reason we coach, or the reason I coach, and I think you're in agreement, is that we finally found a program that worked and a program where we not only could take the weight off, but we could keep it off. First time in my life. And I am not a young chick, although I look pretty good, but um,
You do. That's
he
true.
thinks I do.
It's true.
Anyway, yeah, so we're pretty excited about it. And if we sound passionate about it, it's because we are, because we tried everything. We were at a training last night in Phoenix, and one of the speakers happened to ask how many of you have tried two different diets over your lifetime? And of course, people raise their hands. And, okay, how many of you have tried 5 different diets over your lifetime? Of course, raise your hand. How many of you have tried more than that over your? And I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. So right. And the thing about this program, and I tell this to all of our clients, is if you do this program correctly, and you use all 4 parts of this program. And if you're in your heart of hearts, you do not want to have to deal with this anymore, you don't have to. In other words, you can get the weight off and never put it back on. All you need is a commitment in yourself and to lean into the 4 parts of this program. And so I just want to commend you all because you have made a commitment to this to learn the elements. And I have to tell you, every time we read one of these, we're like, we read that before and we didn't see that. So anyway, tonight, so when I saw what the element was tonight, which is tracking your journey to a healthy weight and beyond. Okay, tracking your journey. I want you to know the hair went up on the back of my neck. I hate tracking. I hate it. I hate it. I resist it.
You don't like it then?
I don't even like it. Nope, don't like it. And I don't know if that's my rebellious side or I don't know what that is, but it's like you got to give me a break. Last thing I want to do is take time to track anything, right? I'm like, I am busy all day long. I don't want to, when I get home at night, I'm brain dead. I'm just like, I want to do it. But what I realized when I started to read this, we were reading it together and, kind of making the highlights of it, is it's no wonder it took me 3.5 months to lose my weight. I am confident after understanding why the importance of tracking, that had I tracked, I probably could have taken at least a month off of that. But I didn't. But what I know is that not only is it important to track during your weight loss, there's a certain amount of tracking you want to do after. So have you ever talked to someone who doesn't have a weight problem and you say, so, how often do you weigh? A lot of them will say, oh, I weigh every once a week. I weigh once a week to see where I'm at, just to see how I'm doing. Or somebody that's already reached their goal weight, they may say, yeah, I weigh once. That's tracking. That's kind of watching what you're doing, right? Because what happens when you don't weigh yourself and you're not like right on task with it? What happens? You just don't even want to look. Me, it's like you have to get the courage up, right? I got to get the courage up to even step on the scale because I just know it's not going to say what I want to say. Or you go to put the blue jeans on, right? And all of a sudden you're having to lay down on the bed to zip them up and you're like, ah, I must be off track here, right? So tracking in itself is super important. So here's the thing that we have to remember. What the life book, I don't know, do you guys all have the life book? You do. Okay. I recommend to you read it because I may not cover every single bit, but it's all good. It's all really good. So here's the thing with the life book. What it's doing for you is it's providing a solid foundation of knowledge, skills, and tools to reach your health goals and to maintain your health goals, or actually continue to even get better. Optimal health. Yeah. Yeah. So, so the life book's really important. And up to this point, it's given you a lot of information on just kind of really the practical side and also the mindset side of having a healthy life, period. Okay. I'm just going to use that encompassing everything, your weight, your mindset, your sleep habits, right? All of that. Okay. So here's my question, and I want interaction. So please, you can come off mute. How are you doing right now with your health journey?
Can you hear me
Oh,
now or
Sue,
no?
I can't hear
You
you.
still can't hear me?
You can type it in the,
Why?
Can you type it in the chat?
Oh,
we
yeah,
can
I
read it.
will. I will.
I can hear you.
You can hear me, Lori?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll chat it.
I can hear you.
So, nope.
While she's doing that, my mom just said she just hit a milestone. What'd you get into?
I got into 150s.
So she's down below
You
160
got it?
now.
I
No.
got
Mom.
into
Lori?
the fit 150.
How come I can't hear you either, Lori?
Oh,
maybe it's us.
Maybe it's us,
I
huh?
don't know.
Or
I think
Sue,
it's
it might
you.
not be you at all.
You want to go off and come back?
That's okay.
All right, you guys can hear us, but we can't hear you. So what
Hmm.
is that about? Maybe it's this. Oh, there you go. It was us. It wasn't you.
Go ahead, Sue.
All right, Sue, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say I had a great week. So I started a week ago Monday, and my journey's been really good. My son's girlfriend came home tonight with a box of specialty cookies, and I'm like, nope, I don't even care. Doesn't even bother me today. So that's a good thing. Because
Nice.
last week I would have eaten the box. So just to be clear.
And so how does that feel?
It feels good because I learned last week to keep a promise to myself, and that's what I'm doing. So that
That's
feels good.
great.
Yeah, feels good.
And what the great thing about that is it builds your confidence.
Mhm.
So as you keep promise to yourself and you do that, what happens is it makes you stronger the next time. Because you figure, you know what, it was no big deal. I said no to that. I'm just gonna keep saying no to it because I want to get to my goal. Good job. And by the way, I can see it in your face already. So
Well, that's a good thing.
how much have you lost? Was it 5?
The first 3 days was 5, and then it was recommended I don't weigh myself till tomorrow because that's our chat day. So I'm
Right.
waiting. I look at that scale every day and I'm like, I want to get on, but I'm not.
Okay,
That's
tomorrow
funny.
be surprised. That's great. How about you, Lori? So how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I just got back from the gym and yeah. And my mom wanted to say she's here. She's just listening on mine. She got below 160 today. So she's
Oh,
in the
good.
150s now.
Go
Yeah.
Nancy,
I
congratulations.
know.
That is so great. That is so great.
Yeah.
And I see my little Hawaii Lisa, she's working out. So that is awesome. Good job.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is great. Right on. So the reason I ask you, how are you doing on your journey is because tracking will actually help you. And before you resist like I did,
Mhm.
I want to kind of talk a little bit about that, okay? Because to me, tracking was a dirty word, right? Tracking was a dirty word. But this is what it does. It provides a means to measure your consistency and to assess what you're doing so that you can make adjustments to move forward.
Mm.
So I think my mindset before with tracking was it's going to show I'm not doing something right, or it's going to maybe even hold me more accountable than I want to be. So there was a lot of mental. So having a different perspective on tracking to me makes all the difference. So what we're doing is basically saying you need to be tracking what you're doing. In other words, are you getting in your waters? How are you sleeping? Do all those things, because by writing it down or by actually checking off the box, you'll know if you are not on the right path. Because if you, okay, so here's the big kicker to it. If you don't do that, and you're not really doing everything to maximize uh, your health, to get to optimal health, what you're doing is you're then ingraining habits that will not support your weight loss. Does that make sense? So it's not to catch you in something. It is for you to actually be able to assess. It's like when a mathematician is looking at all the data and says, oh, I can see this is what the data tells us. We're going this way. Okay, if we make a change with that, we're going to go this way. That's all tracking is about. And so to me, I got a whole new perspective, because basically you want to reach the results you're aiming towards. If you do, then we just have to see how you're doing and see if you need to kind of shift. So you might say, okay, what does that tracking look like? What is it that you would track? What do you think you'd be tracking?
What you eat,
Mhm.
how often you eat.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I track my BMI because I'm really trying to get down, below. Well, I'm below obese now, but still I'm trying to get down to 24. So yeah.
Good. How about your sleep? We don't think about
Yeah, I
that.
need to do that.
Because actually, if you've had trouble sleeping during the week, say, and you weigh yourself and you see that, oh, I was so great with my eating, but I only lost 2 pounds. I thought for sure I lost 5. Whoops, our lights go out automatically here. I'm at church. So what can happen is, because your body produces cortisol, you just have to
Yeah.
go. There you go. Just go in front of it and think. It can actually keep you from losing the weight you want to lose, right?
Mhm.
So tracking is important, and the way they phrase it, which I really love, was you're tracking whatever you're committed to.
Hmm.
Does that give you kind of a different perspective? So you're tracking whatever you're committed to. So if you're committed to having 5 fuelings a day and a lean and green, Or if you're on the 4 and 2, 4 fuelings a day and two leaning greens, that's what you want to be tracking. If you're committed to working on your sleep, that's a macro habit. That's what you're tracking. If, like Lisa, there she is working out, if you're tracking how often you're working out, that's a macro habit too. So when you're tracking those daily, you can then look back on the week and say, oh, I can see why my body did such and such. And what it does is just brings you back again into alignment. So why is tracking important too? It not only gives you a bigger picture of what you're doing and how it's affecting you, but it is a great habit. It is a great habit. And I'm telling you, I was an anti-tracker. Now I'm a tracker believer because I can see the difference. And I wanted to share a real quick story with you because it was so impactful to me. And this is a story, it's in your life book, it's on page 251. And it's a story Dr. Anderson wrote. And you know, Dr. Anderson's co-founder of Optavia, and he is a golfer. And he went golfing one day, and on the course, he was with a group, and on the course they ran into this other group, and it was Jack Nicklaus and who was the other? And Greg Norman. Okay, two big name golfers, right? And he noticed that Greg Norman and Jack Nicklaus were hitting balls about 80 yards to this pin, and they kept hitting it, and the balls were all falling or landing within like a foot or two of each other, right near the pin. So that they were amazing, right? That they kept doing that. It was constant, right? So Dr. Anderson goes off and he's playing a couple of different holes, and then he's thirsty, comes back to get a drink or something at the fountain, and he notices that Greg Norman and Jack Nicklaus, and this is hours later, okay, are still hitting the balls in the same place. The exact same place. They have not moved on to play the game. They haven't gone to a different pin, which is 100 yards. They're still at the same spot hitting it. And this is what he said. He said they spent 2.5 hours in the summer heat practicing a shot that they had already performed to perfection. It was a perfect example of making a secondary choice to support a primary choice. In Jack's case, to be the best golfer in history. These guys created excellence by spending years and years ingraining a habit that becomes so automatic, it would enable them to perform it even under pressure, right? Because I can't imagine those tournaments, the pressure that they're under, right? Not to mention the money that's at stake. He says, this is what we're doing with you as we're ingraining habits of health that will eventually become automatic. So you can see the success of these golfers. Why? They practiced that habit. They practiced that stroke over and over again. And that is exactly what when we do a health assessment with a new client, we say, we're going to teach you these habits. We want you to practice them over and over again, because then they will become automatic, which then leads to success. So I just thought that was a great story.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Nancy?
So, yeah,
Nancy,
I'm here.
can I share something here?
Please.
I I was thinking about this because can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Since we talked about this element last night, I've been thinking about it, and this behavioral program, The Habits of Health that Dr. A wrote, they're not just for us while we're in the weight loss phase. I mean, we say that this plan is different because we're going to, keep the weight off. This is one of those things that, yes, we need to build the habit while we're in weight loss, but this habit is going to serve us well for the rest of our lives because we need to keep our weight off and really have a tight rein on our numbers.
Yep. That's great, Lori. Exactly. That is exactly it. I mean, that really, guys, that really is the difference. The biggest difference between this program and other programs is that when you do change your habits, you change your life. It's
Do.
it's lifelong transformation.
You change your habits and your habits change you.
Yes, you change your habits. That's great. That's great. Um, something else I don't want to.
I don't.
Okay. All right. So in your life book, there is actually an example of a tracker. You do not need to use that exact tracker, guys. Because remember what we said, it's what you're committed to doing. You can make your own tracker, or you can actually download a copy of this tracker. It takes 5 minutes in the evening to write down everything based on your tracker. If you look at it, it's on page, I'll tell you, it's on page 254 through 257. And again, you can shorten up the tracker, but if you just had to answer those questions, probably wouldn't even take you 5 minutes, right? Do that. So I wanted to give you kind of an analogy. This wasn't in the chapter, but I thought of it when I was reading this and putting the notes together. So for those of you guys that were moms or aunties or whatever, and you had the little kids around, right? Um, you may have done this, or you may have seen someone that did this, that you wanted to train the child to brush their teeth, brush their hair in the morning, wash their face. Okay, make sure you're putting on clean underwear. You know, did you eat your breakfast? All these things. Or maybe you're trying to train them to make their bed, clean up their toys at night before they go to sleep, right? And some moms, aunties, whoever, will do a little checklist. And won't you be so proud of them? And they're so proud of themselves. And they will, they may even go over and check it off, or maybe you have those, remember those little gold stars?
I still have them.
Yeah, I love those gold stars. And you put your gold stars up for all the things they did. And what were you doing?
Creating a habit.
You were creating a habit. You were creating a habit. How were you creating that habit? On a tracker. It was a tracker, right? And we thought that was great. We thought this is such a great way to teach these kids, right? And I mean, they even do it in school too, right? Did you clean up around your desk area? Did you whatever? So tracking is I just want to say, tracking is a proven method of ingraining habits. It's a proven method. So I just want to encourage you to do that. So let's take a look. So here's a question. Do you have, or let me ask you a little differently, what is your new appreciation for tracking? Okay.
I think for me, because I think I had an aversion for it also. But what it does is for instance, I'll just give my own story. I didn't after I transitioned, I didn't weigh myself every week, but that's what you're supposed to do. So I wasn't tracking. Next thing you know, I'm 15 pounds over, and by that time I've lost the chance to make adjustments.
Mm.
Nancy said about laying on your bed and zipping up your pants. If I would have tracked it sooner, I wouldn't have to be laying on my bed and zipping up my pants. So I think it helps you stay the course. It helps you, like, pilots always checking if you're off 1 degree and when you off 1 degree and you're flying 5,000 miles, you're going to end up in the wrong location. So it's just an ability to keep your focus tilted the direction that you want it to go. And sometimes if we don't track it, here's what happens. You get discouraged because you're 15, 20 pounds over, and then you say, well, why do it again then? You can get in, it can really play mind games with you. Why start over again?
Mhm.
And so I think currently I'm weighing every day right now. I'll probably, once I get, and I've lost 4 pounds in, I don't know how many days, few days. And when I get to where my goal is to get, I never did get to my BMI. My goal is to get to my BMI all the way down. And then I'm going to track, even though I don't like doing it, but it only takes seconds and it keeps you on track. So that's what I found out for this chapter. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, because then you can make the change if you're
Yes,
doing
yeah.
something. Now, one of the things that they mentioned is tracking what your like your how do they do it, the stress level. Oh, here it is. How did you, now this is up to you if you want to do it. You can, if you do the one from the book, it includes this question. But the question is, how did you deal with the challenge that day?
Well, that's good.
Which is a really good one, because don't forget, this whole program is very much self-discovery, and really, as you get to know yourself, I mean, we do a lot of things without even thinking about it. We have created habits of reaction. In fact, there is a great example we heard last night. We're going to share this with you because it was so really kind of life-changing for us, is that you can have an event that happens in your life. And we're just going to use the one they used from last night. So for example, this fellow that was talking, when he was 6 years old, he liked this girl. He was only 6 years old. He liked this girl. And he went up to this girl, and I thought this was pretty bold of him at 6 years old, and said, I want to go on a date with you. Right. I know. I love that look, Lisa. Anyway, the girl said no.
She was
What?
wise.
She was wise. But the problem is this poor little 6-year-old boy then created this mindset
Mhm.
that he was going to guard his heart. He was going to guard his heart. And so what happened is, as he got older, when a similar event would happen, and I'm assuming he's talking about relationships, he would immediately go to guarding his heart. Do you see what happened? Is he created that, right?
Mhm.
So this was brilliant, guys. If you don't get anything today, get this. When he started Optavia, he's a coach now, but he learned with talking about stop, challenge, choose. What he does now is when he's faced with a situation that can take him there, take him to that place, he stops. He realizes this is an event. This is not, I do not have to feel or act the way I did before. Okay.
Mhm.
So he basically challenges himself, right? So he stops, he thinks about the situation, he challenges himself, he realizes he doesn't have to be that way, and then he chooses a different way to be. And what he's doing now is he's creating a new pattern. Instead of the pattern of going to guarded heart because of one event that he reacted that way, he's now creating a pattern of stopping, challenging what's going on, and deciding how he's going to respond to that event. Stop, challenge, choose is not just about food. Stop, challenge, choose is about how you live your life, really. It's how you react to things, right? And we all get hurt, but instead of getting hurt, if we can be open and curious and challenge the situation and then decide how we're going to react, we will just live a better life.
So another way to put it, and that's really good, Nancy, another way to put it is that event has no power until you assign it. You get to be the one who assigns it. Does it have power over me or don't? And you stop. And so you're standing independent of that situation. It was powerful, Nancy. It was powerful.
It was.
And no matter what the situation is, whether it's Optavia Health or if it's a relationship or if it's a work situation, you get to decide how that's going to affect you versus you are at the mercy of that event. You are not at the mercy of that event. And it's very empowering. I'm glad you shared that.
Yeah. So, all right. Questions, comments? No. Okay. All right. Well, if you just take away, honestly, as you guys are on this, if you just take away one or two things and not just take them away, apply them, it will create success, period. It will create success. All right. All right. Look forward to talking to all you guys.
Congratulations
Yep.
for appearing and showing up on this consistently every Wednesday. Those who show up, move up.
Amen. All right. Take care. Bye.